My name is Gouws. This dissertation is rooted within a process of unification, a personal struggle to understand the fragile relationship that exists between architecture and time. As architecture enters the realm of aging, the process of ruination informs a building's natural transformation. It is within this weathered space that emphasis is placed on architecture's inherent mortality, its inability to resist change and ultimately time. The project investigates weathered and haunted space of abandoned military architecture on Magazine Hill, which has lost its relevance in contemporary society due to its intended purposes and remote character. It therefore places contemporary commemorative architecture under the limelight, criticizing the static notion of heritage commemoration through the typologies of museums and memorials. The proposal explores architecture's transformation in time, where the process of weathering and ruination do not imply a finality or death, but rather informs architecture's creation. The proposed site is identified on an isolated historical site in Pretoria called Magazine Hill, also known in Afrikaans as Magazynheuwel. The terrain is located in the military precinct south of the Pretoria Correctional Services. The site was utilized for the production and storage of military ammunition from 1890 up to 1960. This was also one of the first sites in South Africa where military industrialism was formalized for ammunition production. A site which provided 45% of ammunition used by the Allied forces in the Second World War. Magazine Hill forms a comprehensive construct of different layers of time and influence. This mysterious, abandoned and isolated site consists of two underground ammunition magazines, a fort on the hilltop known as Fort Commemorates, a series of submerged bunker spaces, and a series of ammunition factories, all structures that represent an era of unrest in South Africa. At 3 a.m. on the 1st of March 1945, the legacy of Magazine Hill changed forever. A mysterious explosion of one of the ammunition magazines, or Rooi Magazine, led to the massive destruction in Pretoria, where damages were reported as far as Church Street. Photographs taken during the examination of the explosion shows a steel beam weighing 600 kilograms that crashed into the Second World War medical stores, located more than 750 meters away from the explosion site. A roof girder was found next to Fort Commemorates on the hilltop, a vast distance from the point of detonation. The detonator magazine to the west of the explosion was wrecked and covered with a thick layer of debris and pieces of rock, some boulders weighing up to 8 tons. Offices and stores to the east of the magazine had disappeared completely. For a period of 40 hours after the accident, explosions and fires still combusted between the scattered debris. The cause of the explosion still remains a mystery till this day, while a sabotage strategy executed by the Ossewa Brandwag forms the Chief Director of Explosives' personal conclusion. Today, the site stands in isolation. Severe dereliction and weathering accompanies the ammunition factories. The Grand Magazine is reduced to a scar in the landscape, a 60 by 70 foot crater in the hill, which is the only remaining witness of the tragic event. Currently, the slopes of Magazine Hill are still covered with scattered remnants of the Red Magazine and unexploded ordnance that reappears with each rain season. There is an inherent tension locked within the site, hidden in mystery and untold stories. In the author's experience, the isolation of the site forms part of a negative mental construct relating to the site's history, a sense to forget the tragic past. It is as if the site doesn't want to be found, remaining imprisoned in its own misery. The secure character of the site has led to the dereliction of more than half of the buildings on Magazine Hill, for it is argued that the secretive and haunting history should be forgotten by the citizens of Pretoria.
A brass foundry is proposed that recycles the South African National Defence Force's spent ammunition shells to introduce brass artists and a public interface to both Magazine Hill and the SA Army. Where ammunition was once produced, ammunition is now reduced. The visitor would enter Magazine Hill from the main entrance leading directly into a labyrinth of concealed ammunition bunkers, historical structures submerged within the landscape that now serve as an informal sculpture garden. The route continues into the Flame Tracer building, an ammunition factory that was constructed in the late 1930s. A series of artist studios are crossed along the length of the Flame Tracer building, where the process of ammunition reduction is now viewed within the context of ammunition production. The visitor is left at the foot of an unknown route leading into the undiscovered remnant of Magazine Hill.
The weathering of architectural materiality implies that buildings take on the qualities of places and events, whether it be residual deposits brought on by the rightful claims of nature, or explosion damage and bullet holes caused by singular historical events. In both mentioned cases, the process of decay unfolds a narrative that strengthens the building's existence and persistence in time. This dissertation's design resolution is thus focused on the idea that ruination can inform creation, and stresses the fact that the death of one building element can lead to the revelation of another.